This week is set up to be filled with opportunity. We have the midterms tomorrow, so in this video, we're going to talk about some key stocks to watch going into this event. We also have two $1 million trades for tomorrow that I promise you do not want to miss. Stick with us for those. Trump stock is up a giant amount today, and we also have some other key things you need to know going into the stock market for this week. Things are about to heat up big time. Opportunities here, and there's a lot we need to cover. Stick with us. But Tom, we're not wasting any time. Let's get right into it.
Yeah, Mike, the SPY actually had a really good day today. We popped up and then started falling back down a little bit at open, but hit right off that 375.50 support midday and started rocketing all the way back up above 380 there, right around market close. Now we're sitting at like 379.80, but like you said, there is a ton of stuff to go over, so please stick with us, guys. But one of the big things I want to talk about coming up for the next few days, Mike, is obviously these big midterm elections that are going to be coming up tomorrow. So you can see the market actually did quite well today heading up into these midterms, but there's a lot of key stuff going on, and there's a lot of big Senate races here. But pretty much all day tomorrow, people are going to be voting on a whole bunch of different issues. Obviously, there's a lot of Senate races going on, and there's a lot of stuff, obviously, that can change the market depending on if Republicans or Democrats end up winning this election here. And there's a lot of sectors that might end up being influenced by this. So we can see here that the energy sector might obviously do a little bit better with Republicans in control. So they're saying that some more U.S. companies might start producing more oil, for example, and stuff like that. Now that might actually make the oil, the price of oil fall a little bit if that happens, but nonetheless, that's going to impact the oil market really big. The healthcare market, Mike, is going to be hit really big as well. I know Democrats have been trying to lower prescription drug prices and stuff like that can end up hurting pharma stocks. So a Republican majority would be good there. And I know cannabis has been another huge issue that people have been talking about. And these cannabis stocks have actually been starting to pop up a little bit on the charts, which we will talk about a little bit more. But overall, this is going to be a huge event, Mike. And we have the CPI data coming out on Thursday, 1 hour before market open. So there's a lot of big events, and we're going to get into some pretty big plays here coming up.
You know it. So the first thing I want to talk about related to the midterms is with GEO stock, okay? GEO is a private prison company, and for those of you who don't know, Michael Burry, the guy who is from The Big Short and basically shorted the housing market in 2008 and 2009, also ended up buying GEO stock. Like I said, it's a private prison company, but if Republicans end up winning, you would think this stock would do pretty good. This stock is below $10, and over the past couple of months, it has performed in a very, very good way. Now, Tom and I actually noticed something very interesting with this stock. Tom, can you please show us what happened last time, or what happened when Trump won the election back in 2016?
Yeah, so here's pretty much GEO in 2016 heading up into the election where Trump won. And you can see right here on Tuesday, November 8th of 2016, GEO started really popping up that day and the next couple days after that. And you guys can see how it really gapped up there on the charts. So I think GEO might be a pretty good opportunity, Mike, and it just didn't gap up there for one day. GEO was trading for around $16 and got all the way up to highs around 34, well up over 100%. So it had a crazy move back in 2016. And if Republicans are actually able to gain a majority in Congress here, I think that this could potentially happen again. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to for sure see another 100% jump like this, but I do think that with the way GEO's trading, with the way there's very nice support bounces going on, and we have good momentum heading up into the event, I think that there is a pretty good chance of this. I know a lot of people, especially because of all the high inflation and because of the way the market's been performing and everything like that, a lot of analysts are suggesting that Republicans could have a pretty good chance this time.
Exactly. So the main thing to know is that the last time there was a big Republican win with Trump in 2016, this stock doubled. Lately, it has a lot of momentum, and it is trending to the upside pretty quickly. And currently, there's a good chance of Republicans winning or, having a good outcome from the midterms. Keep GEO on your watch list. It's moving quickly, and it has a long history of good moves in these situations.
Yeah, it does. And it's kind of forming a nice W, has a really good support down here. I will say we are kind of right around this $10 resistance, but you know what, Mike? The best thing for gaps is whenever you gap up above some of these resistances, you start to see some really nice runs. So hopefully we can break that and start to move up. But there is a lot more stocks to talk about here related to the midterms. And some of my favorites, Mike, are obviously the cannabis stocks. So I know obviously a Democratic majority will be good for cannabis stocks. So I know that obviously GEO would benefit from a Republican majority. Obviously, cannabis stocks will benefit more from a Democratic majority. But I will say, Mike, I feel like a lot of Republicans have been coming around a little bit when it comes to cannabis. And there's also going to be a lot of states that are going to be voting on cannabis. So we can see here there's going to be 5 states. We're looking at Arkansas, Maryland, Missouri, North Dakota, and South Dakota could join 19 other states and the District of Columbia, which have already legalized marijuana. So that's going to be a big thing. 5 more states could potentially help out these stocks. I will say, Mike, Tilray is obviously very, very low right now. It's not having the best movement. It's not necessarily popping up too much into the midterms either. It is a nice move off of lows, but I think it'll be a very important sector here, especially over the next year or so.
Yeah, so cannabis stocks are very interesting in the sense that they move in very different ways than most other stocks. For the most part, cannabis stocks do nothing a very large majority of the time, and every now and then when there's like a nice catalyst or, some sort of event, these stocks just go absolutely crazy, just like we could see with Tilray, every now and then 10xing on the chart. Some key stocks to watch that are in the cannabis industry are Tilray, which is TLRY. There's a bunch of them out there, but I'm just going to run through a couple of the most popular ones. So we have TLRY, we have CGC, we have ACB, and then there's also like ETFs you can go with, like MSOS or even MJ. And honestly, there's so many cannabis stocks out there. I couldn't name them all, but those are some of the most popular ones.
Yeah, one of my favorites is PLNHF, which is Planet 13. Just another outlier, but like you said, there's so many out there, and you kind of got to be careful on which ones you buy. I really like Tilray, Mike, because they've tried to make some big deals and stuff like that in the past, so I feel like that they're actually pretty serious. I know a lot of these companies are trying to be serious, obviously, of course, but I do like Tilray a lot more than the others. I will say, like, I lean way more towards Tilray than I do like ACB, for example. But if these stocks start moving, they're more than likely set to move up together. At least historically, that's what we've pretty much seen. So hopefully that whole sector starts to pop, Mike. And like we said, it would be better for a Democratic majority in this case, but nonetheless, it's going to be interesting. I know midterms are a big coin flip, and guys, let us know in the comments, who do you think is going to end up winning the midterms tomorrow? Like, do you think that the Republicans will gain a majority or the Democrats? I'll kind of be interested to see some of these comments tonight.
Yeah, me too. So, Tom, there's one other key stock we have to talk about that has to do with politics, and that's DWAC. For those of you who don't know, this is Trump's Truth Social stock. This thing is up 66% today, and it is just flying to the upside. Basically, Trump is expected to announce a potential run for 2024, and there's a lot of hype flowing into DWAC. Keep it on your radar. This stock is very, very volatile. It moves quite a bit, but hey, keep it on your radar.
Yeah, definitely. And, this could actually come tonight, apparently, according to some sources. So who knows, guys? Keep it on your radar. I know Trump's obviously a pretty big figure. Keep in mind, DWAC is the SPAC that it looks like the Trump Media Corp is going to end up merging with. So keep that in mind. But it's a crazy stock, Mike. I know sometimes this one, kind of like, I'm not going to say it's like the marijuana stocks, but just like you said before, every once in a while, this one gets some good news and starts to pop up. I will say that is a big jump, though, 66%. And if he announces tonight, maybe this can even continue into tomorrow.
Yeah, it's definitely a crazy stock. We've seen this one move in insane ways in the past, so keep it on your radar. But Tom, looking at some more stocks going in tomorrow, one that's really on the top of my watch list is SE. Not too many people talk about this one, but it actually closed up around 10% today, and it has a long history of some pretty great moves. SE has all-time highs around $372 a share. Right now it's below 50. It has some pretty solid momentum right now, and it's definitely on my watch list, not only tomorrow, but also for the rest of the week. Like I said, it's very oversold and it has good momentum, so I will be watching it closely.
Yeah, that daily chart looks brutal on SE, Mike. I can't believe how low it is right now, but glad to see it coming up off of these lows. And there's a bit of like a lower high going on here on the chart. So I do like to see that. And for the short term, I would almost target a nice play up to maybe 52.50, something like that. And maybe a nice 3.5 point move. Looks like a pretty safe play there. But another one I'm looking at, obviously, is Tilray, which we talked about already. But I think it'll be very important to watch. There's a big resistance here intraday as well. You can see how this morning we kind of ran up to the same pre-market high as the other day, somewhere pretty close to $4. I will be watching tomorrow. If we move up above 4, I think it could make for a good play. But obviously, this one will probably move more over the next couple days with the midterms.
Alrighty, the next play I'm looking at for tomorrow is Meta. Yes, Meta. Meta stock is extremely oversold, but it's actually starting to get some good momentum to the upside back. It's below $100 right now, which is pretty rare for Meta. This stock has a long history of great moves in terms of short-term movement and long-term movement. It's definitely on my watch list going into the next couple days, given the great upside momentum it had today, but also the positive way it held its ground on Thursday and Friday of last week.
Yeah, that was really good to see it kind of double bottom there, and it really went flat and held its ground, like you said. And to me, I really love this setup. It looks very bullish. We had that nice gap up today. There is a big resistance around 97 that I will be watching for tomorrow. But if I do see a nice break, I think this one could even be a pretty good intraday play. And what I really love about Meta, Mike, is I feel like Meta is at a time of peak fear and just like peak sadness right now. This stock has been going down so long, and we just had that big push down with earnings again. I really feel like that over the next year or so, this stock will recover up a lot, and this frowny face will start to turn into a nice smiley face. So just watch for Meta, guys. I think it's very underrated, especially at this price and with the stuff that they're doing for the future as well. Keep in mind that going forward, obviously, Facebook will make some changes over the next few years, so keep that in mind. But another one I like, Mike, is Microsoft. I think it will be a pretty good stock for tomorrow. I really like Microsoft because I am pretty bullish on SPY. I feel like SPY has had a really good past couple of days. I love that move today up to around 380. And if we start to push tomorrow up above 381, I will definitely look at MSFT calls. I think if the market pushes up, Microsoft can do very well, just like it did today, up 2.93%.
There we go. So another important thing to keep in mind throughout the rest of this week is earnings. Tom, earnings have been a key part of the market over the past couple of weeks, especially. What is on the schedule for this week?
Yeah, so tomorrow we have some big players early morning and in after hours. So in pre-market, look at Norwegian Cruise Lines and Workhorse. Those are going to be two pretty big stocks there. In after hours, though, it's probably going to be the biggest day of the week in after hours with Walt Disney or DIS reporting, Oxy, AMC, Upstart, Plug, Lucid, AFRM or Affirm, even Marathon down there. So pretty crazy, Mike. A lot of growth stocks here tomorrow. Obviously, Disney, it will be one of the big watchers. I know you said that was your favorite for the week. My favorite for the week was Plug. So hopefully those stocks do well. But yeah, crazy week overall. We'll get into the rest as we go. Honestly, there's so many big names here for the rest of the week. It's even hard to name them all.
There we go. For those of you who don't know, earnings is a time where we always see gigantic moves. Sometimes it's to the upside, sometimes it's to the downside. But one thing that is for sure is volatility, especially with earnings. So keep those stocks on your watch list. And then Tom, it's such a busy week. We even have more to talk about in terms of economic data that is set to release. Fill us in.
Yeah, we still have the CPI data coming out Thursday as well. So we have the midterms on Tuesday, the CPI data Thursday, all these big earnings, including Disney tomorrow night too. So I can't believe it, Mike. What a week. I thought we might be finally cooling off after the FOMC last week, but that is not the case. We obviously have a lot of big stuff on the schedule, and CPI is going to be very important. I don't know if it's going to be more important than the midterms, Mike, but I'd put it up there. Honestly, CPI is going to be huge. And if we see inflation data starting to show that inflation's slowing down a little bit, I think that could be exactly what the SPY needs to go on a nice uptrend.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, Thursday will be so important because, like Tom said, we have CPI data set to be released. But basically, what that means is inflation data, and we need this to come down. The Federal Reserve has been increasing interest rates over the past year in order to decrease the current level of inflation that we have. The last inflation reading was at 8.2%. That level of inflation is unsustainable and it's horrible for the stock market and the economy. So we really need to see that come down, and on Thursday is when we will get the next reading of that data. I cannot stress how important inflation data is. So be very, I guess you could say, tuned in on Thursday for this data. It will be released 1 hour before market open. But Tom, it is now time for the momentum plays for tomorrow. With the first one, we have RBLX to the downside.
Yeah, poor Roblox had a really bad day here. If they can get back under the 39.50 support, I'll go ahead and look at some puts tomorrow.
Sounds great. With the next one, we have SPCE, but to the upside. And I know this one's a little bit crazy.
Yeah, Virgin Galactic. I'm really glad to see it continuing up, though. Go ahead and make them break above 527. And keep in mind, guys, this one's very low priced, and it can have some pretty good swings, too.
Awesome. Now with the last one, we have Boeing, also to the upside.
Yeah, Boeing had a great day, Mike. I actually really like that resistance up there right around 166. I'm actually going to mark that. So if we're able to break, well, not at 166 because there is that high of day up there around 166.60. So if we break 166.60, then look at calls.
Sounds good. So we are watching Boeing and SPCE for potential day trades to the upside tomorrow, only if they break above the levels Tom listed. And then we are watching RBLX for a potential day trade to the downside tomorrow, only if it breaks below the level Tom listed. But it is now time for the $1 million trades for tomorrow. With the first one, we have VOD. I don't think we've ever talked about this one before, Tom, but this trade is extremely tempting for me. So basically what happened today is we have some whale or institution, someone with a lot of money, put a million, basically $1.06 million into the VOD 11 strike call options for January 20th of 2023. VOD is a British telecom company. I like the risk reward ratio on this setup. I really like it. It is a little bit risky, but it's like when you see some sort of hedge fund put a $1.06 million into call options that are in the money and that have time, to me, it's pretty tempting.
That's insane, Mike. I cannot believe that they bought those calls so far in the money, which I'm marking it down here on the chart, guys. Down here is where that $11 actually is. So they're in the money by about $2.20 right now. Definitely seems like a bullish play, Mike. I will say, though, it's hard for me to trust anything British, Mike. So keep that in mind. It is a British stock, like you said. So keep that in mind, too, guys. Obviously, the British economy might end up playing with it. But overall, I think the setup looks pretty bullish. And like you said, it's on a good downtrend, starting to bounce off support. And those calls are pretty deep in the money.
For those of you who don't know how call options work, basically some smart money person is betting over $1 million that this stock will be above $11 by January 20th of 2023. Initially, you might look at VOD and be like, well, yeah, obviously it's going to be above $11 by January because right now it's at $12.20. The reason that they are doing this, or the reason that they would buy call options rather than the stock, is because they can get a ton of leverage doing that. So the main thing to know is that someone is betting on VOD going up a good amount by January 20th of 2023. Keep it on your radar. It looks pretty tempting to me in a good way. With the next $1 million play, we have two of them today. With the next one, we have $1.6 million going into PayPal, and specifically the PayPal $77.50 strike call options for January 20th of 2023. Again, this play is at the money. PayPal is attempting to double bottom off that 70 support level. It has a long history of great and volatile moves. It has some time. It's at the money. To me, it looks like a pretty bullish play in that some smart money person is betting on PayPal popping up.
Yeah, I would think so too, Mike. It got really close to that key support here from the past. really close to like 71.50, and we had that really nice bounce up today. I will say though, I've been watching this key trend line on PayPal that's been kind of following to the downside. I will say though, it's been following that trend line for quite a long time, and I would expect it to possibly start to move back up and break above that here soon. But that's a lot of money, Mike, going into those 77.50 calls. Like you said, right around the money. And you know, these whale players have definitely done well, Mike. Like we've showcased in the last video, these plays sometimes do very, very well. And these people putting this amount of money in, they don't put it in for no reason. You know, like imagine it. Imagine if you guys had $1.6 million right now. Like, would you throw it in PayPal calls not knowing anything? I doubt it.
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, I love following smart money trades almost more than like anything else, because just like you said, Tom, the people who are dumping millions of dollars into these trades, a lot of times they have more information than most other people, and they know what they're doing if they're dumping $1.6 million into one specific trade. So that's why I love following these trades, and they work pretty well too. Like we talked about FXI in the past, Walmart, and a lot of other trades that have to do with this style of trading, and they work in a good way. So if you guys want to learn more about these trades, just subscribe. We talk about these trades literally in every single video, every single nightly video, at least one trade per day. So subscribe if you haven't already. We talk about these trades all the time, and they're awesome. So definitely subscribe. Tom, do you have any last minute things or anything you want to talk about heading into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, overall, Mike, pretty good day today. I think there's a lot of good momentum heading up into the overall market tomorrow, at least with SPY. I noticed Microsoft, Apple, lots of stocks like that were really ripping up. Obviously, DWAC has to be on everybody's watch list when it flies up 66%. Obviously, Meta, a few others are moving very, very well. So to me, Mike, I'm really going to be watching the market. Midterms are going to be huge, but I'm still bullish here. SPY is at this 380 resistance that I'm going to keep an eye on for tomorrow. So maybe we'll get another nice breakout, just like we got this morning with that nice pop up early on.
There we go. Also, I want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, CPalm20. You've been in the chat for a little over 1 year, and your activity has definitely been increasing lately. So if you guys are not in the Stocked Up Discord chat already, check it out. It's that first link in the description and the comments down below. It's free. You can chat with Tom and myself, and we have a bunch of other great traders and people to network with. Again, it's going to be that first link in the description and the comments down below. Huge shout out to today's member of the day, CPalm20. Definitely keep up that activity. But like I said earlier in the video, I am pumped for this week. I think there's going to be a ton of opportunity in multiple different ways. Of course, scooping up long-term stocks, but also just short-term trading. So many stocks are at good levels. Momentum's flowing back into the market. We have midterms, inflation data, earnings. I think it's going to be a great week. Subscribe if you're new, guys. We're pumped for the market this week. And thank you for watching, and let's have an amazing week.